Afghanistan, a nation often seen by the world merely through the lens of centuries of conflict. Nestled in the heart of Asia, it holds a warmth that defies the hardship of its past. And from the dust and ashes, Afghans have been able to find joy from an unlikely source.
یوازینی شی به وسویم که په افغانستان کې هغه د خوشحالي هغه به همدا کرکټ چې موږ ته خوشحالي راکوي افغانان سره یو ځای کیږي.
Rashid Khan bowling to Mark Wood, who's bowled! Afghanistan win and have beaten the world champions England.
Afghanistan has, almost from nowhere, transformed into one of the top men's cricket teams in the world.
نو ځکه نن الحمدلله چې افغانستان ټیم څوک یادوي نو هغوی دې نه یادوي چې افغانستان یو ښه ټیم دی یا یو ښه ټیم سي اوس هغوی دا وایي چې افغانستان یو بیسټ ټیم ده.
In a nation with deep historical and cultural divisions, many believe the game has acted as a uniting force.
کرکټ نه سره دا چې افغانستان کې قومونه سره ځای کړي دي د خلکو په مخونو باندې مسکا راوستي ده او د افغانستان خلکو ته یو بهترین د تفریح ذریعہ جوړه شوې ده.
But under Taliban rule, the game can only truly be celebrated by half of Afghanistan's population.
There is no peace in Afghanistan. If you go and ask girls what you have now, they would say nothing. And they actually do not have anything.
Cricket has helped heal a nation still reeling from decades of war. And it has provided a means of resistance for those in exile. It's given many Afghans from all over the world a sense of hope. A new dawn is forcing its way through Kabul's morning fog. As the Afghan capital slowly awakes from its slumber, some already have a head start. Exercise has been one of the only constants in Haji Hassan's long life. His outdoor gym, the Wazir Akbar Khan Hill, has overseen a lot of change throughout Afghanistan's history. Countless empires have come and gone. Modern Kabul is a very different landscape. Hidden amongst the chaotic bustle are scars from hundreds of years of conflict. The past century alone has seen a kingdom fall, the country's first republic ousted by communists, a bloody civil war, and the rise of the Taliban. From 1979, when the Soviet-Afghan War began, Afghanistan has known nothing but instability. Throughout the years, Afghanistan's complex and diverse ethnic makeup has been exploited by militia leaders and political strongmen. Divisions remain between the Pashtun, Tajik, Uzbek and Hazara populations, as well as between villages which once pledged allegiance to different warring factions. But the events following 9/11 are what many people today most associate with Afghanistan.
Thanks to our military and our allies and the brave fighters of Afghanistan, the Taliban regime is coming to an end.
The United States spent an ill-fated 20 years fighting the Taliban, a militant Islamist insurgent group.
حالم شکر بکشیم مزار شکر یک آرامی آسودگی است.
That peace and security has come at a heavy price, however. In 2021, the Taliban returned to power, coinciding with oppressive crackdowns on women's rights. International sanctions and political isolation have also contributed to a crippling economy, with at least 85% of the population living in poverty. Amid the turmoil, one glimmer of hope has emerged: cricket. The game has provided a welcome escape for Afghans and given them something to celebrate. Afghanistan has shown the world its potential through cricket, and Hassan believes that can serve as inspiration for the country to build a brighter future.
آزاد بشه آزاد میشه مثلا زنام آزاد بشه زنام آزاد بشه دخترام آزاد بشه متحد میشه دیوان یک دست متحد میشه از خدا.
That desire for unity is the reason why a simple game has taken over the hearts and minds of millions of Afghans and allowed a nation to dream.
دا هغه ځای ده چېرته چې زه رالوی شوی یم د بیسودو بینیګا د سرکۍ ساحه دلته به ما خپل کرکټ لومړی سټارټ دې ځای نه اخیستی د ماشومتوب کله کرکټ شروع کېږي نو لومړی د ټیپ بال نه شروع کېږي په کلي کوڅو کې په بانډو کې بس خلک دغسې فرینډلي ماحول کې کرکټ کوي یار دوست سره. نوم مې جمال ستانکزی. بس هیله مې دا ده چې د افغانستان لباس پتن کوم او د افغانستان دپاره ولوبېږم او د افغانستان دپاره ویاړونه راوړم.
Nangarhar province in the country's east near the Pakistan border is the heartland of Afghan cricket. The game is everywhere you look.
بالکل افغانان مهنت کشه خلک دي او مهنت وباسي او د کرکټ سره ډېره لیونۍ مینه لري افغانان او د افغانستان خلک که تاسو وګورئ په کوڅو کلو بانډو کې حتی په سړکونو باندې افغان ماشومان لګي کرکټ کوي. نو که هر کرکټر وګورئ چې ته مخکې راغلی ده ډېر کرکټران هغه لومړی له ټایپ بال نه راغلي دي.
Tennis balls are wrapped in electrical tape, mimicking the more expensive professional balls made from cork and leather. Despite the smiles, these street games can be taken very seriously.
دلته خو چې کېږي په کلو باندو کې ټورنمنټ کېږي غټ غټې ټورنمنټ کېږي په فاینل کې حتی موټر سایکل یې ورکول کېږي ګاډي د پسونه.
Jamal's a leg break bowler, using his wrist to put spin on the ball to deceive batsmen. It's a common style in the national team. Best shown by Afghanistan's biggest star, Rashid Khan, one of the world's top spin bowlers.
نو زه هغه نه ډېر متاثره شوم د راشد خان نه. نو ما غوښتل چې په آینده کې زه یو ستوری شم د افغانستان دپاره یو ویاړونه راوړم او د افغانستان نوم په نړۍ باندې وپېژنم د کرکټ د لارې.
Jamal's national team aspirations only get tougher the better the team gets. While he has been involved with the youth team setup, Jamal is still waiting for his big break at 22. But as a young man, he's at least allowed to dream. For many others, such aspirations can carry a death sentence under Taliban rule.
Leaving Afghanistan wasn't a choice, and choosing Australia wasn't a choice as well. When Taliban came, I did not even think. I was only thinking to leave everything and go.
Women were once able to play and celebrate cricket in Afghanistan. Firooza Amiri grew up playing the game in Herat in the country's west and was selected for the newly founded women's national team in 2020.
When I was in Afghanistan, I was like, I'm the luckiest person. I'm the luckiest girl that I've got this opportunity. The reason that I got selected, I'm sure that my coach said, is cover drive. I think I pretty much play at good drives. I think that's the reason. Since I started playing cricket, since I grabbed the bat, I always wanted to represent my country.
In reality, Firooza says women cricketers never had serious support within the country. The Afghan Cricket Board, known as the ACB, only formed the team under pressure from the International Cricket Council, whose membership rules require countries to fund a women's side.
The ACB, I would say they've never been supportive in terms of women. Like in Afghanistan, I'm more like very male-dominated country, and they always try to push you down.
25 girls were given contracts, but they never actually played an official international match. And when the Taliban returned to power, their lives changed almost overnight.
I only thought about my family. Like, I was so scared, like, what's going to happen to my family? Then when Taliban came, I did not even think. I just burned everything.
Firooza's cricket gear reduced to ash, the team's escape began. 3 Australian activists had reached out to the players and got in touch with Cricket Australia, who helped organise passports and visas. But the players first had to make it to Pakistan by themselves through Taliban checkpoints.
The journey, every time I go through everything back, it's like very heartbreaking. You never know when they're going to find out who you are. Like, all this journey was so scary. Alongside that, my younger brother was 9 when we came here. He was so scared. My youngest sister, she was 15. And you know, you are the person who put all these people in danger. You always feel very, like, I was so scared of anything happen to this family, like what I'm gonna do.
Forced to flee her home at just 18, Firooza's now had to look on as the Taliban used cricket to garner popularity in Afghanistan, all the while shutting women out of the game.
I think one reason that Taliban are so scared is girls knowing what is their rights. Once a girl is educated, when women are educated, they will educate a society. When we came to Australia, we saw actually what it means to have your rights and the equality that they have in here. So I think every society needs women to lead, and I'm no doubt that Afghan women are capable of that.
Cricket entered Afghanistan through these mountain ranges. Many say the game's development is down to Taj Maluk. He was one of the national team's first pioneers, a coach, manager and fundraiser all in one. These days, he farms land on the outskirts of Jalalabad.
Zainullah, tazazan khpal sarakar ko makha kana. Ta kurti ba samare garmi me sabe kurti ba sama saida. Tara saga badrudina. क्रिकेट टीम में फुटबॉल अफगानिस्तान के चरागलमा यानी क्रिकेटर नूना पाका ज़माना की क्रिकेट टीम में सिपर ने शुरू के अफगानिस्तान की क्रिकेट टीम चाने पहचान
Like many Afghans, Taj spent most of his childhood as a refugee. More than 6 million were forced to flee the brutal war between the Soviet Union and Afghan mujahideen that consumed the 1980s. About half of them settled in refugee camps in Pakistan, a country which has strained relations with Afghanistan.
No manga pa piadano asuno bandiu. No podi guruno bande chelado tere mangal akhwa Pakistan sara laka tere mangal urdawai pada chenar. Ya ga waqt bande pekho. Kar chalta de khato kuru kana bijli bam kala nawa aw yani masalan dir qurbat halat bau khuzun pidi sukun kyu.
With little to keep them entertained, Afghans discovered a new love in their makeshift homes. Pakistan was experiencing a cricket boom, peaking with its 1992 World Cup victory. Enthusiasm for this strange foreign game became infectious.
Awal kira zale manga TV bande je wulid aga de Pakistan aw de Hindustan mechu no maga jana be manga kem ke kashagade ke cricket lo bo sara shuru kala no manga si wulid no manga maga ta be de shu ko che manga bet paida ke aw manga da de tennis aw ball aw rubber tip bor ban ta be de kana no manga awal kor ke ba dewal ke wicket jode kade tabashir bande ade chalk sur ta vai kana no maga bande manga jana shuru kala یعنی دلته موږ چې شپږ کال تیر کړل کله موږ په دومره تکړه لوبه کې چې موږ زه مشرور مې نو موږ به یو مخفله کو بل بټیو کوت.
As cricket flourished in the refugee camps, however, the Taliban had taken control of Afghanistan by 1996 and banned most sports. Forming a national cricket team was out of the question.
موږ ته نه حکومت او نه سیاسي او نه نړیواله شورا اورپی هغه د جیب خرچ او د خوراک د پراره نه کړله. غټ تجاران دلته افغانستان ته ډېر ارچاته مې زنګ واه هر سړي منفي جواب راکولو.
Fortunes changed in 2001. The Taliban's fall paved the way for the ICC to award Afghanistan affiliate membership, allowing them to compete internationally. It kick-started one of the greatest stories in world sport. Within just 20 years, Afghanistan have gone from being nobodies to cricket's rising star.
نو دا باغ موږ ته د سیمانه لري دی جوړول او سوچ فکر لکه کرکټ ټیم نو بس دغه سي خواري په وشله مهنت مو کړ تکلیفونه برداشت کړ افغانستان ټیم نو من بخلاړ انسان باید همت الله ستورني کې مایوس نشي او چې څومره د صبر کوي او مهنت کوي او خپل هدف پسې نکټي نو خامخا سمره راوړي کامیابیږي.
Farms like these are vital for Afghanistan's future. Despite roughly half of the country working in agriculture, more than 30% of Afghans face serious food insecurity. Taj and his brothers cook up food every day to help feed those in need.
افغانستان کې غربت د خلک غریب دي او اقتصادي مشکلات ډیر دي نو په دې اساس باندې موږ هر روزه کې دلته دیګونه پخو د فاونډیشن سره نو دوستان یې مرسته کوي او نو بیا په خار کې الته په پوندن شپخانه کې ته موږ زیاده الته توجیه کوو 1500 روزدارو ته روزماته تقسیمو.
Cricket may not be the answer to Afghanistan's desperate situation, but Taj's work has paid off, sowing the seeds for future generations. Dubai is a far cry from Jalalabad. It's the jewel in the United Arab Emirates crown, filled with luxury and excess. The men's cricket team has been forced to train and play in neighbouring Sharjah for much of the past decade. Due to security concerns in Afghanistan, Sharjah Cricket Stadium has become a home away from home. Gulbadin Naib has been with the national team since 2008. He's been through all the highs and lows.
We have nothing. We have no salaries, no daily allowances, no sponsors. Even we didn't have money to buy a single ball or bats or shoes, pair of shoes. But the thing we have, so this is only one thing, Afghanistan.
The all-rounder and many of his teammates, such as Mo Nabi, grew up in Pakistani refugee camps, just like Taj Malook before them. This generation, however, fled the country's civil war, which spanned the early 90s after the Soviets left.
مهاجرت کې خستونځ ټول ستونزې نو هلته خو د ځینې چې ته هغه کوم شی چې ته غواړې تا ته ډېر په اسانه پیدا کېږي میلاویږي مشکلات ډېر ول ډېر ستونزې وې داسې نه وي چې هر شی ډېر په اسانه موږ ته میلاو سوي دي یا دا کرکټ چې اوس الحمدلله موږ په کوم ځای کې یو دا داسې په اسانه خلکو موږ ته راکړی ده ځکه موږ هر یو شي لپاره فایټ کړی ده.
The team's rise since those days has been nothing short of incredible. With Taj Malook as coach, Afghanistan were promoted 3 times between 2008 and 2009. That success led to more funding, better facilities, and international coaching. In 2015, Afghanistan took part in its first ever one-day international World Cup. Few have watched Afghanistan's extraordinary rise as close as Devendra Kumar. The Indian-born commentator reported on the team for years before they garnered international headlines. He's seen at first hand what the game means for Afghans.
Afghanistan cricket is like football in Brazil. It's everything for the lives of Afghan people. It's everything.
Sharjah is home to a huge population of Afghan expats. Today they're here to watch their heroes in a friendly match against Bangladesh. The fans' passion is matched by the team on the field.
It's a warrior mentality. So they take great pride in giving back something to the country and putting the country on the world map in positive form. And that has been the biggest motivation for the players.
That Afghan spirit complements the team's raw talent, which has been fine-tuned across the last decade. Seasoned coaches have added clear match strategies and modern training methods. Afghanistan now boasts a world-class spin bowling attack led by Rashid Khan, as well as consistent and disciplined opening batsmen. The fans now expect their team to compete with the very best. And against nations such as Bangladesh, Afghanistan are now considered favourites.
We're waiting that moment. People loves a lot national players. Everyone looks to me and they give me a smile to me. You know, this is the best thing I'm facing. When the people see me and they're giving a smile to me.
Good lines as well.
Absolutely, I think it's a great spread where
Devender believes Afghanistan are now a match for any side in the world.
A remarkable stroke from Rahmat Shah. Superb timing and great placement.
Despite the ongoing unrest, the domestic game has been able to flourish. Academies have grown in number and regional tournaments have multiplied, exposing more young cricketers to a higher standard of play. Afghanistan now has a deep stockpile of talent. If anyone drops the ball, there's a handful of players ready to step up.
There is a hunger, keen desire to develop and compete. There is a talent. The skill level is extraordinary. If you look at the quality of the players, particularly the spin bowlers, they are recognized as quality players at the global level.
Importantly, Afghanistan's cricket heroes proudly show off the old tricolour flag and even sing the old national anthem before matches, both of which have been banned by the Taliban back home. Cricket has a form of protected status, with the Taliban well aware just how important the sport is to keeping the public on side.
They all understand the value of unity of the country. They all know that cricket is the biggest thing in Afghanistan, and they will never take cricket away from the people.
When Afghanistan wins, it's a rare chance for fans to defy Taliban orders and celebrate in public. And those celebrations are becoming more and more frequent. Since 2023, Afghanistan have started defeating some of the world's biggest teams.
We create a small goals, and we achieved it. And now you say that, so Afghanistan not underdogs anymore. We should give something to our people, so we should beat some big teams.
Cricket has clearly become a unifying force for many Afghans. But that unity has not included everyone.
We are in Thousand Step in Melbourne, so normally we are coming here to do some hikings and get away from the busy life and, you know, city and everything. We didn't have the opportunity in Afghanistan to do that kind of stuff. When Taliban took over the country, they banned everything for girls. So now, obviously, girls cannot go to school, they do not have the right to play sport, and, you know, like nothing. It's never been easy, to be honest, to leave everything behind and everything that defines me and everything that I've tried so hard to achieve them. I've left everything behind and I start over a new country in a very young age. Learning English for me was like climbing a mountain, that hard I could say, and it wasn't easy to fit in. I was not able to talk to people, make friends. That was one of the hardest things that I faced in the first year. And when you come here, you always feel a stranger, and always thought like, because I am wearing hijab, I'm not going to be able to make friends in a society like Australia, but it was completely wrong. Once I learned English, I found so many friends in here. What makes it easier that we found a lot of other Afghan people in Australia, and obviously Melbourne, it's a very diverse and multicultural community we have, and there's a lot of events that we are celebrating in here with many others Afghans, so it makes it easier now to adjust.
Walking down the streets of Dandenong, it's almost like a mini Kabul. The team often eats out at Sahar, where they can find a taste of home.
Afghanistan is very famous with their hospitality. Obviously, food is another part that I love the Afghani foods, and I'm sure like food always brings people together.
Having these home comforts has helped the team settle into Australian life. Here, they've also been able to find a safe haven to voice their opposition against the Taliban, which isn't possible for people back home. Speaking out doesn't come without risk, however, as many still have family back in Afghanistan.
For all of us, I think sport gave that platform and that voice that we can speak out for many others.
I think the Australia changed everything for us, and now we found our voice and we can share it to others as well.
Every time that we speak out in the, not only for ourselves, for many other girls, it gave that hope for the girls that they just keep going and they keep that hope in themselves that this will change.
The Taliban is the face of extreme oppression within Afghanistan. But even before their rule, many elements of Afghan society were already highly conservative. This is particularly true in more rural regions. Most of the cricket team grew up in more liberally minded cities such as Herat and Kabul. Even there, they still faced opposition to their sporting goals.
They were laughing on my family and saying, like, they called them dishonorable because we were playing cricket, like me and my two sisters, we were playing cricket. I only had my support of my family. And, like, obviously my mom was this, like, biggest supporter that she, like, pushed me to go and, like, follow my dreams. We didn't have any support from the people. We didn't have support from the SCB.
The Afghan Cricket Board was supposed to fully fund the women's team under ICC rules, but they were often left without proper support and even had to use men's equipment.
I remember that one of the coach, they came to us that one of the day, and he was like you're not even 10% as a player. How do you want more facilities or more new equipment if we don't have any facilities, if we don't have any equipment for women, if we don't have any opportunity to shine? How we can become a player?
That's where Cricket Australia has stepped in, providing coaching and facilities. During the players' first years in Australia, the International Cricket Council ignored calls for assistance. But after facing international pressure, the governing body finally announced it would help fund Afghan women cricketers. It's a welcome development, but the players would also like to see support from the men's side.
Rashid Khan has millions of people behind him, and he has such a powerful voice that if he used that, Taliban won't do anything to him and not do anything to his family. We all needed the support, but like they didn't do anything. It's very heartbreaking, to be honest, to think about it.
That support has instead come from a foreign land. The Australian cricket community has embraced the team, but as long as Afghan cricket remains in the men's domain, their wider aspirations for girls and women back home remain distant.
تقریبا 40 کاله جګړه دلته تیره شوې ده. خلک جګړو والي دي. اقتصادي وضعیت خراب ده د خلکو. یعنې که په سلو کې تقریبا 80% خلک دلته اقتصادي مشکلاتو سره مخ دي.
Many of Afghanistan's 42 million inhabitants rely on humanitarian aid, slashed by recent US policy. Poverty is more pronounced in rural areas like Jamal's village. It's a young country and youth unemployment stands at almost 17%. Cricket offers a rare opportunity for Jamal to change his fortunes.
یو ورځ راشي چې همدغه سي د کور وزما او بیرته ډکه منګولې کور ته راشم د افغانستان لباس پتن کما او د دې علاقې نوم په نړۍ وپېژنم د خپل کلی د خپل ولس.
Jamal is on his way to compete in a regional tournament.
دا سرک ته راورسېدم ګورو چې ګاډی موږ ته ودرېږي یو ګاډی او تر څو لاړ شو ګراوند ته لاړ شو یو رکشا ودرېږي موږ ته.
This match will be another chance for Jamal to get noticed and forge a path to national team selection.
تا چې چېرته وګورئ زیاتره ټایلنټ خلک چې دي هغه د کلي دي د بانډو خلک دي هغه محنت کشه دي هغه کلک خلک دي د کلي خلک په وخت ویده کېږي په وخت پاڅېږي دا یې غټ هغه.
Jamal left his home much like this when he was just 16, but that journey had little to do with cricket. Afghanistan has one of the largest refugee diasporas in the world. Like millions of others, Jamal left searching for new opportunities.
ما یو ماما زوی هغه جرمني کې و چې زه لاړ شم جرمني کې خپل ژوند وکړم چې زه روان شوم د ترکیې په لور لومړی پاکستان ته بس په بلوچستان بیا ایران ته واوښتو نو سختې وې ډېرې سختې وې کله چې مونږ هاخوا واوښتلو ترکیې ته د اختر شپه وله مونږ چې کله د ایران نه ترکیې ته واوښتو د ترکیې عسکرو مونږ باندې ډزې وکړې 2-3 کسان مونږ نه ولګېدل.
After 3 months in Turkey, however, Jamal's efforts to get into Europe came to a halt. He lost his motivation to find a way through.
زړه مې تنګ شو بیرته مې وړوکی وم عمر مې کوچنی و وړوکی وم بیرته مې ونه وغوښتل چې هاخوا لاړ شم څه ملګري رانه لاړل اتریش کې هغه لکان اوس اتریش کې دي او زه بیرته رالم افغانستان ته ټیکټ مې وکړه کور ته مې زنګ ووایه چې بس زه نه غواړم چې لاړ شم.
Jamal is now pinning all of his hopes on cricket. The sport has given him renewed ambition. Star players like Rashid Khan, Mohammad Shahzad and Sami Shinwari hail from this region too. Jamal is determined to follow in their footsteps. Back in Kabul, the streets are starting to buzz. There's a big match for the men's national cricket team today, which means extra traffic for the city's bakeries. Bread holds a special place in Afghan culture. It's one of the few foods that most Afghans can afford, and it is often used as a marker for the economy. Hassan has worked with bread for almost all his adult life.
وقت دنیا یک با سودا میکنیم یک روپیه افغانی
در وقتی کی؟
در وقت زاید شاه حالی بدهیم اون نان در با سودا میکنیم والله وضعیت مردم افغانستان بسیار ضعیفه دیگه هیچ وضعیت نداره هیچ کاربار نیست.
The economic woes have touched the whole country, and while many have welcomed the relative stability under Taliban rule, the strain is impossible to ignore.
خبر نداره دولت خبر نداره بیچاره غریب است مردم بسیار هردم شهید است دادان است هیچ چیزی نه کار نه غریب نه نیست که کل این جولیه این کلی به بغل یک لقمه نان دیتی الله ولی بچه نان بگیریم پنج شا بته میاره بیا بچه پنج نان بته بیا بابا بیا بیا.
As ever more people struggle to afford even basic staples such as bread, it is another reminder of how cricket provides a welcome distraction from daily life.
دیگه اینستونه دیگه بسیار خوب بازی میکنه با افغانستان اما خدا چند مملکت بوده پاکستان انگلستان جوانان را اگر سپورت کنین بچه ها سپورت کنین خب سپورت کنین بچه جوانان سپورت بسیار خوب است.
The upcoming match is a chance for Afghans young and old to take in another victory against a big team. In the current economy, meat is a luxury reserved for the wealthy. The Super Shinwari restaurant is also preparing for the upcoming match. Afghanistan are playing in the Champions Trophy, the tournament reserved for the best 8 teams in the world. Manager Gulun and his team have all been glued to the action. After an opening loss to South Africa, Afghanistan defeated England to set up a chance to make the semi-finals.
England sara khusumung lobawa dera jani lobawa dera warkhata washu bukane che lobuna bedi khub der khaisa lobawa kala sara der party sara waka ladim khalak jamashu kanam der shauq katala der makhluk mushtari mung sara der da zed jdak mung zen unu mung sara khalak salun de dak salun sara halun der sara da tol dak der khon to agasta.
Afghanistan's about to face Australia, one of cricket's biggest grudge matches. Due to the Taliban stance on women, Australia has refused to play Afghanistan outside of ICC tournaments. And there were strong calls internationally to boycott the team for the Champions Trophy.
Do mung sara de lobina boycottam kare kana bada khatar bani baid da unushi lobo siyasat juda khabara da kacheta da lobi boycott shi Englistan elan kar boycott ki gaya Australia elan kar boycott ki kade chirta boycott ki cricket sara نو د افغانستان د ماشومان د خلک د لوبي ګوري خوند تر اخلي چې دا بند شنو بیا خلک نور لار باندې حرکت کوي وازنی لوبه کرکټ د چې موږ خوشالي مې راکې متحد کړي یوال موږ منځ کې راوستي.
Outside, there's another game going on. Many Afghans, like these kids, don't have access to TVs to watch their heroes in action today. But that doesn't deter their enthusiasm for the game.
مهم دی لپاره صحت ته ډیره فایده لري او دوی خپل سات تیری ذهن یې ارامېږي د بدو کارونو راځي دلته کرکټ کوي دا د افغانستان او استرالیا لوبه ده چې انشاءالله افغانستان وګټي. د افغانستان د ټیم ډېر ښه ده ځکه چې دوی ورځ په ورځ تکړه کېږي او دې وخت کې لا د کرکټ سهولت لا زیات شوی ده دا نوي ماشومان ورځي روزل کېږي کرکټ باره کې نو دوی ورځي انشاءالله خوند ولري.
As the sun sets over Kabul, Afghanistan's match against Australia is reaching a crucial stage. Back at the Super Shinwari, service is in full flow. The guests are able to enjoy their food without distraction. It's become the highlight of the night. That's because, unfortunately, the cricket hasn't given them much joy. The match has been called off due to rain, ending Afghanistan's chances to make the semi-finals. For supporters, however, there's still a great deal of pride in this team. That includes Amanullah Niyasai, who played for Afghanistan youth teams in the early 2000s.
د افغانستان د کرکټ لپاره ډېر د افتخار ځای ده چې د چمپیون ټرافي ولوبوله او په دې کې انګلستان ته ماتې ورکړه استرالیا سره لوبه مساوي کړه ان شاء الله دغه به انټرنیشنل ملکو ته ماتې ورکړي او ان شاء الله یو وخت به تاسو ګوري چې دا ورلد کپ افغانستان ته راځي.
And although that goal still feels far-flung, it's one that's becoming ever more possible. And it is enough to fuel generations of Afghans looking to leave darker times behind them. Afghan migration to Australia has a rich history, dating back to the mid-19th century when Cameliers helped develop the country's early railway systems. Further migration waves have arrived since, and now the Afghan population stands at almost 80,000. Many of them have settled here in Melbourne's eastern suburbs. Shagufta Bakhtari fled Afghanistan with her family in 2003, and she's proud to show off her country's reputation for hospitality. She has, however, been happy to leave other aspects of Afghan culture behind.
Afghanistan is very conservative, especially for women, because women are not allowed to go outside without permission. They cannot drive. how supportive is the family doesn't matter, because the community that they don't accept, especially in village.
Since the Taliban returned, women's rights have reached their lowest ebb. Shagufta believes they're misinterpreting Islam to punish women.
They use their religion for this reason, which is not religion. Our religion never says, don't allow your women not to laugh, not to talk. That's not true. I cannot accept them as a Muslim. I think they want to change the mindset of people about Islam.
For Shagufta, cricket represents another paradox for the Taliban. The regime in the 1990s banned all sports in line with its interpretation of Islam. Yet this time round, cricket has escaped that fate.
Taliban even stopped playing chess in Afghanistan. See, how can they support cricket? I cannot understand. They use cricket team for their to show they are good people, but they are not.
Taliban officials have jumped on cricket's popularity to bolster their own image, including meeting up with the team whenever they record big wins.
خدا سیاست او پالیسي د سي لوبي باید له سیاست نه جلا وساتو او د تاسو دغه کامیابی د ټولو د خوشحالي سبب شو او ټولو لوبغاړو په نمائندګۍ ډیره زیاته مننه.
The team, they don't use Taliban flag, but when they go back to Afghanistan, they celebrate with them. It doesn't look right for me.
By promoting men's cricket, the Taliban has also inadvertently brought the women's team into sharper focus. Shagufta has admired Firooza and her teammates fight for recognition from a distance.
I believe in their talent. I believe how strong they are. Now everyone around the world, they know the cricket team. It's a very strong message of hope for women in Afghanistan.
The team believes that a determined vocal group of women having a platform is one of the Taliban's worst nightmares.
I think Taliban are scared of that women in Afghanistan know their rights and country go out of from that male-dominated position. They just want to have that control over the women. And I think once they let the girls go to sport and education and everything, they won't have that power anymore. They have only a gun, otherwise they are nothing.
In Jalalabad, few women can be seen in public. Teenage girls often don't even leave their homes. Only 17% of girls aged between 7 and 12 attend school in the eastern provinces, compared to 45% in urban regions. Attitudes here are shaped by tradition and culture and are more conservative than in other parts of the country.
کلتوري خو مونږ خو پښتانه یو او د پښتنو خدا حل لکنه چې د موږ زنانه ډېر پرده کوي ډېر کوي او ازادي دا شان نه خوخي په حجاب کې ګرځيږي شکل ضرورت مطابق لکور وځي نو د څه اختلاط نه خوخي پردو خلکو سره نارینه او سره اختلاط دا خو د تصور کوم دا خبره نشرات لای چې دوی پردو نارینه او سره خبرې وکړي کینی کار کول او دا شان غلري خبر دا لوبه کوله د کرکټ څخه د خزو اصل کې خزو ته نه د جوړه ډیر څه سکیلو لوبه دا منډي غواړي.
Regional cricket tournaments such as these are male-only affairs. Taj Maluk attends almost every game. He's well known in these parts, and he has a few words of advice for Jamal before his next big match.
Jamal Stanikzai چې دا اکثره دغه صفت کوم ډیر وجره کې میادومه موږ وجره کې کرکټ باز کیږي جمال ډیر زبردست بالر دا هغه دغه اکشن ټولر شهر راشد خان ته ورتلی دا وایم چې یو ډیر بهترین بالر دا افغانستان لپاره بعد من ان شاء الله لوبيږي او مخکې به دا غلط.
Jamal is hoping to take his chance to impress onlookers today. He'll be facing off against players involved in the national team setup, and Afghan cricket board officials will also be in the crowd.
زما خو نن د سیراده چې ان شاء الله زبنن یو درې څلور اوټومه
As the match begins, it's clear Afghanistan has a wealth of talent coming through, which makes getting noticed an even tougher challenge for Jamal. Dedicating one's life to cricket requires sacrifice, as players still can't earn a proper living at this level. Jamal takes a crucial wicket as his team clinches victory.
یوازینی شی به اوس زویم که په افغانستان کې هغه د خوشحالي هغه به همدا کرکټ چې موږ ته خوشحالي راکوي. نو دا د افغانستان لپاره ډېره غټه د افتخار خبره ده چې زموږ ټیم په دومره تقریبا 25 ټیمه دي په دې کې موږ اتم پوزیشن نیسو.
Despite that rapid progress, Afghanistan still lies behind top cricket nations when it comes to facilities off the pitch.
په کافي اندازه سہولتونه شته د خو لکه څنګه چې یو کرکټر د لپاره پکار دي هغه سہولتونه نشته په افغانستان کې. نو قرار به دا پروژه داسې ښه کیږي او انشاءالله چې پرمختګ روان ده.
Jamal's dreams are also focused away from the sport, on a future for Afghanistan that is prosperous and includes everyone.
کرکټر خو باید تعلیم ډیر ضرور ده د سپورت ترڅنګ باید اجازه ورکړل شي چې تعلیم وکړي زموږ خلک باید تعلیم ته پرېښودل شي خپل حقوق ورکړي هغه ته ضرور ده د ښځو تعلیم ډیر ضرور ده چې ښځو ته تعلیم پرېښودل شي زموږ خویندو میندو ته تعلیم پرېښودل شي چې هغه خپل دغه تر کچې تعلیم وکړي.
Whether or not Jamal one day makes the national team, cricket has given him and millions of others a sense of purpose. Firooza may be more comfortable with a bat in hand than a chopping knife, but she's getting involved today for lunch with her family and teammate Friba. In Afghan culture, cooking provides an intimate space to bond, something Firooza and her mum particularly cherish.
Anything she say, like, I would never say no to my mom. Yeah, we call her boss, like, she have done so much, she have sacrificed a lot, like, to do everything for us. Yeah, a lot of fighting with my dad, with the family and the society. Yeah, she's amazing.
It's now Firooza's turn to take up that fight. Cricket, Afghanistan's pride and joy, has been taken away from most Afghan women. Firooza is proud to see Afghanistan compete with the best in the world, but she does struggle with her once passionate support of the men's team.
It brings joy and happiness and peace and everything to the people. But since Taliban took over and women are like pushed from playing cricket, I think it does not have any meanings anymore for women in Afghanistan.
Firooza and her teammates have been forced to start from the bottom, just like the Afghan refugees before them, who built men's cricket from nothing.
Like, this is the beginning, so what we are thinking is very big. If I say 20 years, I'm sure that Afghanistan will be one of the countries that will compete in the highest levels, and I think cricket has the power to change everything.
For the 2025 Women's World Cup, Afghanistan was the only full member not involved in qualifying. The players can't represent Afghanistan while the Taliban remains in power. And there's also a long way to go to bridge the gulf in class. Now that she's settled in Australia, Firooza wants to focus full-time on cricket, though the game could also open doors to ambitions off the pitch.
I was going to study law in Afghanistan, and I always wanted to be the youngest women's ambassador in United Nations. That was one of my dreams. I don't know if I'm going to still make it, but it was my dreams back home in Afghanistan, to be speaking out for women and, you know, be a voice for the people who cannot speak.
مرا بندی مکن پرواز دارم برای ملت آغاز دارم منم شاهین آزادی که با خود توان بالستها باز دارم.
For decades, Afghanistan has had its wings clipped. But cricket has provided the nation a platform to showcase their talents on the world stage.
The whole world love Afghanistan players now. They love watching Rashid Khan. They love watching Mujib Zadran. They love watching Mohammad Nabi. They love watching any player of Afghanistan. خو خو به زخیر دومره نو خو اوس مونږ ډیر یو دسه پړاو د تللی چې هر سړی امید لري چې دا مخکې کړي چې باید نورم وکړي.
While cricket alone can't heal the nation's deep scars of war and exile, nor completely bridge entrenched ethnic and cultural divides, it has brought many people together.
خو ګوره چې کله لوبه وګټل شي کنه چې افغانستان چانه لوبه وګټي نو خلک خو داسې نه وایي چې دا پښتنو وګټله یا تاجکو وګټله یا زرګانو وګټله چا وګټله افغانستان وګټله چې افغانستان وګټله نو هر سړی خوشحالېږي دا خو د عوامو د ملت شی ده.
The people's game, however, is also vulnerable to exploitation. The Taliban will continue its attempt to harness cricket's popularity. Meanwhile, many Afghans hope their country can emulate the team's success.
انشاءالله راتلونکي 10-15 کلونو کې افغانستان ډېر بڑا سټیج ته خېږي چې دا ځوانان د مهنت کوي خواري کوي همداسې.
And for those in exile, cricket has proven to be a space for resistance.
We are hoping that we give the hope to the girls and women back home in Afghanistan that somebody somewhere is fighting for you. We are here, we are representing a nation. We want to make a difference.
Afghans everywhere have seen their dreams rise from the dust thanks to cricket. A rare assertion that anything is possible and proof that a brighter future can be fought for and won.